Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mr. Fluent English.
The place where we help you improve your English and your life.
I'm your host, Paul.
Okay, if you're learning English, you know that feeling, right? That super frustrating moment when you're talking and the perfect word just vanishes. It's right there, but nope, gone. And the conversation just stops.
It really does. And it's usually not that you don't know the word, it's somewhere in your passive vocabulary. The trick is getting it into your active recall, ready to use instantly when you're speaking.
Exactly. It's like a performance issue, not a knowledge gap.
Right. So today, we're doing a deep dive into some really actionable stuff. 10 tips for English word recall. And it's not just about cramming more words in, but about training your brain to find them faster, making you sound, more fluent and confident.
Yeah, practical daily habits. That's the focus. We want to break down these strategies, look at why they work, and how you can actually start using them. Like today, we've grouped them a bit, and we're kicking off with maybe the biggest hurdle, changing how you think internally.
hmm This first part is all about mental discipline. And it starts with tip number 1. Think in English.
Okay, let's unpack this one. People always say, think in English, but why is translating on the fly so bad for speed? What's happening in the brain there?
Well, think about it. When you translate, your brain's doing 3 things.
Mm.
Form the thought in your native language, search for the English equivalents, translate the grammar, and then speak. That middle step, the translation, it's like adding an extra processing layer.
A bottleneck.
Exactly. Linguists talk about activating an intermediate lexicon. It just slows everything down. Thinking directly in English aims to create, a single direct line from the idea to the spoken word.
Right, cutting out the middleman. But, okay, how do you actually start doing that? Especially if you feel like you need to translate just to build a sentence. It sounds hard.
It takes conscious effort, definitely. But you start small. The source gives a simple example.
Mhm.
Look around you. See the sun? Think the sun is bright.
Mhm.
See your coffee? Think this coffee is hot.
Just simple observations.
Simple, direct pairings. You consistently link the thing or the basic idea straight to the English words. Over time, your brain learns to skip the detour through your native language. It really does speed up recall.
Okay, so that's the foundation. But let's be real, even when you are trying to think in English, words still disappear sometimes, right? You just draw a blank.
Oh, absolutely. It happens to everyone, even native speakers sometimes.
Which brings us neatly to the second point about mental strategy. This is tip number 8. Stay calm. Don't panic. Easier said than done sometimes.
Isn't it just? But panic is truly the enemy here. When you freeze up, your brain gets a shot of cortisol, the stress hormone, and that actually messes with your ability to think clearly and retrieve information. So forgetting is normal. It's how you react to forgetting that matters.
Right, so the tip isn't just don't panic, it's also having a strategy for when you inevitably forget a word. How do you keep talking smoothly?
Use circumlocution. It's a fancy word for talking around the word you forgot. Instead of just stopping dead, you explain the concept using the words you do have ready.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say you forget the word umbrella. Instead of silence, you immediately say something like, oh, the thing you use to stay dry when it's raining.
Ah, okay. People will get it.
Almost always. Communication happens, the conversation flows, and crucially, your confidence doesn't take a nosedive.
Yeah.
You chose flow over finding that one perfect, elusive word.
Prioritizing flow. I like that. And that actually leads perfectly into our next theme, which is about building recall through actually using the language. Sometimes for flow, you might need to simplify things, which is tip number 2, use simple words.
Exactly. This isn't about dumbing down your English forever. It's a strategic move in the moment. If you're reaching for a complicated word like, say, magnificent, and it's just not coming,
Uh-huh.
just swap it out quickly for very nice or really great. Keep talking. The point is to avoid that long, awkward pause that kills the rhythm.
Okay, but I can hear some learners thinking, won't sticking to simple words stop me from sounding advanced? Is there a risk there?
It's a temporary tactic for fluency, not a permanent state. You practice the fancy words during study time, maybe using flashcards or writing. But in a live conversation, confidence and flow are key. If you hesitate for 5 seconds trying to find exquisite, just say, very tasty. Get comfortable speaking smoothly with simpler words first. Then, surprisingly, those more advanced words you learned properly often start popping up more naturally when you need them.
Because you're not panicking about basic fluency anymore.
Precisely. You've built a confident base.
And speaking of learning words properly, that takes us to tip number 4. Learn words in sentences. This feels like a direct hit against just memorizing lists of single words, right?
Oh, absolutely. Learning beautiful in isolation means that when you want to use it, your brain has to do extra work in the moment. Find the noun, the verb, put it all together correctly. The sky is, it increases the cognitive load right when you need to be fast.
So what's the alternative?
Learn the word in a typical phrase or sentence. Instead of just beautiful, learn the sky is beautiful today, or she has a beautiful smile. You're learning the word plus its natural environment, its grammatical context.
So when you need it, you recall the whole chunk.
Yes, it's like pulling a pre-assembled unit off the shelf rather than building it from scratch each time. Much faster, much smoother.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so we've learned words in context. How do we make sure they stick? That they move from, I kind of know this, to, I can actually use this. That sounds like tip number 7. Repeat and use new words.
This is critical for moving words into long-term memory. The advice is really concrete. When you learn a new word or phrase in context, first, say it out loud about 5 times.
5 times. Why out loud?
It engages more senses. You hear it, and your mouth physically forms the sounds that's muscle memory kicking in. It helps lodge it in your brain more effectively than just reading it silently.
Okay, say it 5 times, then what?
Then immediately, and this is key, use it in different sentences. Don't just repeat the one example you learned. If you learn exciting, you practice. This project is exciting. I had an exciting day. Learning new things is exciting.
Well, creating variety.
Yes. The more different contexts you link that new word to, the more connections your brain makes. That builds a stronger memory trace, making it much easier to recall later in different situations. The source says this helps make it stick forever. Maybe a bit optimistic, but it definitely helps.
Repetition, variety, immediate use. Got it. Which all really relies on the most fundamental habit of all, doesn't it? Tip number 3, speak every day. You can't get good at retrieving words if you don't practice retrieving them.
It's completely non-negotiable. Speaking is a skill, like playing piano or riding a bike. You have to practice the act of doing it. Word recall is a muscle. Use it or lose it, basically. You need to force your brain to produce language regularly.
Even if it feels awkward or you make mistakes.
Especially then. But what about people who say, I have no one to practice with? The source had a specific technique for that, didn't it? The 2-minute rule.
Yeah, tell us about that.
The 2-minute rule is brilliant because it's so simple and low pressure. You just stand in front of a mirror and talk for 2 minutes about anything simple. What did I do today? What am I going to do tomorrow?
Talking to yourself in the mirror?
Sounds a bit strange, maybe, but it works. You focus on speaking slowly, clearly. It gets your mouth used to forming English sounds and your brain used to constructing sentences on the fly. And crucially, there's no pressure, no judgment, just you. Doing it consistently, just 2 minutes daily, makes a huge difference to your comfort and speed.
Consistency over intensity again. Okay, let's shift gears slightly to our last theme, using input, writing, and visuals to kind of solidify everything. We can start with input with tip number 6, watch and listen in English.
Yeah, passive exposure is really important too. When you regularly listen to English podcasts or music or watch shows maybe with subtitles, at first you're bathing your brain in the sounds and rhythms of the language.
It creates familiarity.
Exactly. It's called priming. Your brain hears words and phrases repeatedly in context. So when you later try to say those same words, they feel less foreign, they're easier to access because they're already kind of warmed up in your mind.
That makes sense, reducing the friction. Now, to make that input a bit more active and targeted, let's talk about a classic tool. Tip number 5, use flashcards. Still relevant.
Absolutely, especially if you do them right. The tip emphasizes a key detail. English word on one side and on the other, either the meaning in your language or even better, a picture representing the word.
Why the picture?
Because our brains are wired to remember images much better than abstract text. Linking the word directly to a visual bypasses translation and creates a stronger memory hook.
And it doesn't have to be this huge time commitment, right? The suggestion was just like 5 minutes a day.
Yeah, 5 minutes daily is perfect. Short, frequent review is way more effective for memory consolidation than one massive session once a week. That consistent little bit of effort really adds up.
Okay. And linking input and repetition to actually producing something. Tip number 9, write more. How does writing help with speaking recall?
It's another way to engage your brain differently. The physical act of writing, forming the letters, seeing the word take shape, uses motor memory. It helps solidify the word's spelling, its structure, in a way that just thinking or saying it doesn't quite capture.
So it makes the word feel more concrete in your mind.
Exactly. It's easier to find that word mentally when you need to speak it because you've interacted with it physically through writing.
And again, the suggestion is super manageable. Keep a small notebook, write just one sentence a day about your day, your feelings, plans,
Yeah,
anything.
just one sentence. That small, consistent act exercises those retrieval pathways without feeling overwhelming. It makes the words more available when you need them in conversation.
Okay, last one. This feels like a powerful memory shortcut, really leveraging how our brains work best. Tip number 10, connect words with images. We touched on this with flashcards, but this is more about the real world.
Right. This is about consciously linking the English word directly to the thing itself,
Huh.
bypassing any other language.
Oh.
Our brains are visual processors, fundamentally. Picture stick.
So the practical action is point and name.
Pretty much. See an apple, point, even mentally, and say or think apple. See a chair, chair, a bus,
Oh.
bus. You create an immediate direct link between the object you perceive and its English label.
No translation involved.
None. Object-based English word, that's it. It builds incredibly fast and strong associations, making those words pop into your head much quicker during a conversation.
Okay, wow. Let's try and wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground. We started with that crucial mental shift. Think in English, tip 1, and having a plan B, like circumlocution, so you don't panic, tip 8.
The internal game plan. Then we moved into active usage, keeping the flow going with simple words when needed, tip 2. Making learning sticky by using sentences, tip 4. The power of repeating and using new words immediately, tip 6.
And the absolute necessity of speak every day, tip 3, even if it's just for 2 minutes with the mirror technique.
Right. And finally, we layered on the reinforcement strategies, using flashcards smartly, tip 5, connecting words directly with images, tip 10, soaking in the language by watching and listening, tip 6, and cementing it all by writing more, tip 9.
It really paints a picture of small, consistent actions across different methods.
That's the core message, I think. Better word recall isn't about some magic trick or hours of painful study once in a while. It's about integrating these simple, manageable habits into your daily routine. Consistency is what builds fluency.
Consistency over intensity. Got it. So here's a final thought for you. Building on that powerful visual strategy, tip 10, connecting apple to a picture of an apple, or chair to a chair that seems straightforward enough. But what about all the abstract words we need? Words like excitement, or plan, or frustration, or idea. They don't have an obvious physical picture. So the challenge is, how can you apply that connect words with images technique to these abstract concepts? What personal, memorable image could you create in your mind for a word like plan or exciting?
Ooh, that's a great question. If you can start visualizing even the abstract stuff directly in English, finding a unique image that represents that feeling or concept for you, well, that's taking it to the next level. That could really accelerate your mastery. Something to think about.